We're back with another episode of TepTalks
with seikenflash.
Now this is a
fucking weird
kind of a documentary type of program. We talk about all kinds of things. We talk about random things,
like weird shit,
important things,
true shit,
controversial things,
stuff that's happening now, stuff that happened then, stuff that will happen in the near future.
But mainly we want to talk about things that are important.
Yes, like the green children of Woolpit.
Yep, we will be talking about the green children of Woolpit today. Before we start with that, I'm going to ask you what you think about parallel worlds.
Oh, I love them.
Do you think they're real?
Haven't you seen Steins Gate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have. It's a good show. Do you think they're real? Do you think there's parallel universes?
Of course, that's what the people in CERN are trying to. They're trying to open the door. That's what they built that thing for.
Yeah, I think so too. They're a bunch of crazy people.
Yeah.
Bunch of crazy Swedes.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the hollow earth theory that there's a world right underneath our feet? What do you think about that?
Oh, that was my phone vibrating. It says you're full of shit. I just got a text that says you're full of shit. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man.
So you don't think that the world's hollow, or that we have these secret subterranean worlds or anything, right?
Well, yeah, there's probably like mole people. The gate to hell is down there apparently in Christian lore.
Yeah. I mean, not just Christian lore. In was it Greek?
Norse lore. There's a whole tree down there and a snake that's eating itself constantly.
So you think that must have came from somewhere, some truth to it.
Could be the mole people.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm going to read you this Green Children of Woolpit straight from the best, most reliable resource, Wikipedia.org.
Yeah.
That's the best place. It's the best place to find the truth.
It's the best place. We could just type up the truth. Anyone could just type up the truth.
Now this is abridged because I'm not going to read it word for word. But Legend of the Green Children of Woolpit. You had these two children.
Woolpit.
Who reportedly appeared in Woolpit in Suffolk, England.
Woolpit.
England, mate, with some bangers and mash and some Cheerios.
Some Cheerios? Would you like some Cheerios with that bangers and mash and tea and crumpets? And all we do is eat sweets and drink coffee and tea.
I'm just kidding. People in England are cool.
They all have top hats though.
Yeah. Yep. I just imagine some guy with a top hat was strolling around in Suffolk during the reign of King Stephen, and he ran across these two green-skinned children. So what do you do when you see two green-skinned children?
What the bloody hell?
What the teas and biscuits going on here?
My wife Margaret will love you too.
So naturally, you take them, right?
Anyone missing any green children?
Hey, are you two green children?
No, fuck off! All right, kids, come on.
Hey, come on, kids. So he took the green children back to the village, and they didn't eat anything.
Except fucking beans.
Yep, they eventually ate some beans, raw beans.
That's all they ate was beans.
Raw beans. They loved some beans. I bet.
And the dude that took them home just happened to be a lima bean farmer.
Yeah, they loved beans. But eventually, their green skin went away. The boy died because he was sickly.
Mm-hmm. Probably because all he ate was beans and didn't get any type of nutrients or.
They spoke this unknown language, which for that time.
It could have been anything.
It could have just been a neighboring village because everyone spoke a different fucking language and.
It could have been French. No, because they hated the Frenchmen. That's a fucking Frenchman.
It was probably some barbarian language, because there were a lot of spread out tribes during that time that still hadn't been wiped out or assimilated,
such as the Vikings.
Yep.
And the Mamutu.
Anyway, eventually
she could have been Asian.
She could have.
She could have been some sickly Asian girl speaking Chinese, And I don't know what the fuck you're saying. Eat these beans.
Yeah. It's like, well, these beans probably aren't poisoned by these sinister Westerners.
White men.
Yep. Well, anyways, eventually she learned English and was able to tell him that she comes from a world underground called St. Martin's Land.
I come from St. Martin's.
I come from a land of St. Martin's where it's always twilight.
'Cause it's a subterranean village that's underground. Thanks for the beans, bloke.
And then she got married, and supposedly there's descendants of that girl that are still in Woolpit.
Now this is what I imagine is where the story of goblins came from. These little green children that said they came from underground were probably how goblins got started. That might have been how. This is a fucking goblin. This is fucking green people.
Well, thankfully they didn't know about. Maybe they didn't know about goblins then, because it would make sense if it's the origin of goblins. Because if they knew about goblins then, they probably just would have killed them.
That's what I'm saying. They probably found these green children, and then legend passed, and they found these ugly ass goblins. They were green, and they only ate beans, and they said they lived underground. What do you people think?
Goblin Market.
Do you think these green children of Woolpit are real?
Well, that's history, man. That's a documented account in multiple. It used to be actually in Britannica.
Do you think this land of St. Martin's exists? A subterranean world inhabited by green people?
Well, let's throw out the theories. Let me throw out these so far as to what people have tried, how people have tried to explain.
And how have we not found this place? Is it magic? They're fucking goblins.
It could be magic.
It's the land of goblins and fairies, and 2 of them escaped.
I haven't heard the magic theory yet, but we'll use that one too. Another one is that, of course, they're aliens.
Why would they live inside the earth?
Well, they were kids. Their memories could have been all gobbled, because I'm pretty sure the place wasn't called St. Martin's Land, because that's an English word.
It was probably called Gloobity-Glocks.
Yep.
We come from Gloobity-Glocks. But then, why would they look like people? Why do people always insist aliens have to look like people? They look like people except they had green skin. I doubt they were aliens. I'm pretty sure an alien is going to look like something fucked up.
Let me run this by you. If you're going to go to a planet inhabited by fucked up looking aliens, wouldn't you want to look like those fucked up looking aliens to try to...
So you're saying the space goblins had plastic surgery to look like real people, made underground tunnels to live in, and then what?
Just because they were found in a wolf pit.
Woolpit.
Well, I mean, it's called Woolpit because
Woolpit.
because of the wolf pits surrounding the village.
Woolpit. So, where are the green people now?
Well, they haven't come back since.
They ate so many beans that their skin turned black?
I'm pretty sure they have a rule that says, you see that tunnel over there?
Don't fucking go up.
Don't go down that tunnel, because that's where Sherry and Bob were abducted
by the white skins.
Yep, by those white skinned people up there.
It's always the white skins.
So that's why we haven't seen anymore. They haven't gone up that tunnel or used their teleportation spell. If you go with the magic theory.
Yeah, they're probably amassing some sort of green army to
Another
take
theory,
over the surface.
The reason I mentioned parallel worlds is a lot of people say that they could have been pulled from a parallel world, one where
everyone
you don't have a sun,
you
have a different type of star that makes it always look like it's twilight. They got pulled in there, and a part of that, or maybe just a result of being at that different type of sun, is the reason for the green pigmentation, which is why when they came over here, exposed to our sun, it kind of normalized to ours.
That makes more sense. And all they had to eat over there were beans. So that's why they ate nothing but beans over here.
That's a weird detail that they... I mean, it makes it seem less like a story or a fairy tale, because how does that fit in with everything, the whole beans thing?
Maybe they just like beans.
That's all they'd eat was raw beans.
Maybe they were Mexicans from Spain,
That's
and they
right.
weren't green skin. They were just dark brown or olive. There are olive skinned people, and maybe they were speaking Spanish.
That's terrible. That's a terrible theory. First of all,
Why? Because it's logical and makes sense.
Because they no.
You
Because
have
Spain,
no rebuttal,
no,
sir.
I do. Because Spain is not a land of twilight. They came from a land where there was no
There's
sun.
no details that say that
There
in the
is.
lore.
It's in the story. She specifically says that. Says they don't have a sun like we have. That the light was bathed in. It was just twilight.
No. Now you're just making shit up. Now he's just making shit up to debunk my logical theory that they were just some Spanish children that wandered across the border.
That's so boring and not fun at all.
Well, it makes sense. They weren't green. They just had olive-colored skin like Spaniards do.
Now here's another theory I have. That they were time travelers.
Oh my god. I do like the parallel dimension theory. Now that could be something to postulate because, well, I don't know. I mean, it says they learned to speak English. I'd like to know what they were speaking before, if at all they were speaking.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she probably forgot that language anyways.
And
Since if you don't have anyone to speak it to, I don't know, native languages are pretty much hard-coded into your mind. The most plausible theory I've heard, now I don't like plausible theories, I like the ones that really go out there. But the most plausible one, there is a condition called chloroplastasia, where if you're lacking in certain nutrients, your skin will get a green tint to it. And since there were so many different tribes around at that time, everyone hadn't been assimilated into good old England. It could have just been from a neighboring tribe, an undiscovered tribe, one that was probably wiped out a few years later.
probably
And they just had that skin condition because they were
that,
malnourished.
or they had jaundice, because it turns your skin kind of yellowish green. I mean, there could be a couple of different explanations. Why don't you tell us what you think, people?
It still doesn't account for the eating of nothing but beans. It doesn't account for her recount of her origins, where they were in a subterranean land of twilight.
Sure, they were poor. All they could afford were beans, and they lived in a fucking cave. That was probably something that was pretty common back in the day, being poor and living in caves.
That's pretty common today, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you live under a bridge, that's essentially a cave.
Yeah.
So
I want to hear people's thoughts on it. I mean, honestly, I don't believe anything Seiken says because it makes too much sense. And I'm going to go with the parallel universe and say that they were pulled through that, just because people get pulled through parallel universes all the time.
yeah, and clearly they didn't have a Steins Gate to activate, so they lost all their memories.
Yep. If you don't have the Steins Gate, then you don't retain that memory of the base world.
Yeah.
Steins Gate was a lot of time travel too, though.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway, let us know what you think about it. Hope you enjoyed this episode of TepTalks
With seikenflash.
This is Emotep the Scholar,
And this is Seiken the Professor.
signing off.